In the winter of 1922, a Nobel laureate named August Krogh boards a massive iron-hulled steamship for a lecture tour across the United States. The North Atlantic is unforgiving, a churning, gray expanse of freezing mist and towering waves, but Krogh's mind is far from the prestige of his Nobel Prize or the rocking of the vessel. He is on a desperate, deeply personal mission to save the person he loves most, his wife, Marie. Marie is a doctor herself, a pioneer in Danish medicine, but she is living with a condition that in the early 1920s is essentially a slow-motion death sentence, type 2 diabetes. In this era, the medical world didn't yet fully distinguish between the rapid childhood onset of type 1 and the metabolic decline of type 2, but the conclusion was the same. While insulin would soon become a literal resurrection for children facing immediate death, for Marie, it represented a fighting chance against a body slowly consuming itself. In this era, treatment was a cruel joke. It meant starvation diets that reduced patients to skeletons, a slow wasting away of the body that Krogh refused to accept for his partner. While in Toronto, August hears whispers of a medical miracle in its infancy, insulin, a substance that could turn the tide of human biology. He meets with the discoverers in a humble laboratory and strikes a monumental deal to bring the formula back to the shores of Denmark. But Krogh, a man of immense principle, adds a condition that would define the company for a century. The production must be for the benefit of patients, and nobody should ever profit excessively from it. From this humble, selfless beginning, a small laboratory is born in a repurposed schoolhouse, eventually becoming the pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk. For nearly 100 years, they were the quiet, reliable guardians of the diabetic world, a company that seemed to prioritize health over the bottom line. They provided half the planet's insulin, operating with a humanitarian focus that felt like a relic of a gentler time in the cutthroat, predatory world of big pharma. But empires, as history shows us, are rarely built on kindness alone. Behind the scenes, the company faced decades of financial pressure and the looming threat of larger American competitors who sought to commoditize the very air patients breathed. To survive the new millennium, they needed a discovery that didn't just manage a disease, but fundamentally changed the way the human body works. In the early 1990s, a quiet revolution begins inside their labs, led by a small, dedicated team of scientists looking for a hormone that could do the impossible. They weren't looking for a weight loss drug or a vanity miracle. They were looking for a way to make the human gut speak more clearly to the brain. This is the story of how a tiny Danish company accidentally discovered a miracle that would bridge the gap from Marie Krogh's diabetes to a global obsession with thinness, conquering Hollywood, collapsing food industry stocks, and creating a global empire worth $600 billion. To understand the Ozempic explosion, you have to understand a single elusive hormone, LGP-1. Glucagon-like peptide 1 is a natural chemical your body releases after a meal to tell your brain you're full. But in the natural world, LGP-1 is fragile. It is an ephemeral messenger that vanishes from the bloodstream in less than 2 minutes. For decades, scientists deemed it useless as a medicine because it was gone before it could truly work its magic. For those struggling with obesity or diabetes, that signal is often weak, muffled, or entirely absent, leaving them in a constant state of food noise, an endless internal loop of hunger that no amount of willpower can silence. Novo Nordisk geeks out on this hormone for 30 years, investing billions into what many saw as a dead-end project, a fool's errand in the desert of endocrinology. The breakthrough came when researchers found a way to tether the hormone to a fatty acid, allowing it to survive for an entire week in the body. They created a synthetic version called semaglutide, a chemical key that could unlock a new reality. In 2017, the FDA finally approves it for the treatment of type 2 diabetes under the name Ozempic. On paper, it was a solid, middle-of-the-road success. It stabilized blood sugar, protected the heart, and helped kidneys function. But as the drug hit the market, doctors began noticing something they hadn't seen in the clinical trials at this scale or intensity. Patients weren't just getting healthier, they were shrinking before their doctor's eyes. They were reporting a strange, almost magical side effect. The constant, gnawing urge to eat had simply vanished. They were losing 10, 15, even 20% of their total body mass without the agony of the traditional diet. While the world was locked down in 2020, sedentary and struggling with the pandemic-15, Novo Nordisk realized they weren't just holding a diabetes drug. They were holding the holy grail of modern medicine, a tool that could reshape the human form at will. The company's leadership faced a choice: stay the course as a quiet diabetes company or pivot to becoming the world's most valuable wellness brand. They chose the latter, and the global financial landscape would never be the same. Then comes the social media Big Bang, a moment where medical science meets the viral algorithm in a perfect, terrifying storm. In early 2022, whispers start on TikTok, the digital town square of the modern age. It didn't start with doctors or white papers. It started with everyday people documenting their transformations in 30-second clips. The hashtag Ozempic begins to trend, moving from a few million views to 1 billion in less than 24 months.
Suddenly, it isn't just a medical story. It's a pop culture phenomenon that transcends the boundaries of medicine. The Ozempic face and Ozempic body become the new buzzwords of the elite, signals of status in a world obsessed with thinness. When tech mogul Elon Musk credits his physique to fasting and Wegovy, the dam truly breaks and the floodwaters of demand pour in. Late-night hosts from the Oscars to Saturday Night Live begin making Ozempic jokes the centerpiece of their monologues, cementing its place in the zeitgeist. In the shadows of Hollywood and Manhattan, a new black market emerges. Wealthy elites and stars begin seeking off-label prescriptions, paying thousands of dollars out of pocket for a drug they technically don't need for survival. It is transformed from a life-saving tool into a luxury lifestyle accessory for aesthetic weight loss. But this surge in demand creates a brutal global rift between those who need it and those who want it. As the Ozempic era takes flight, the supply chains buckle under the weight of a world's sudden desire. The very people the drug was built for, diabetic patients who rely on it to keep their organs from failing, suddenly find pharmacy shelves empty. In cities from London to New York, the price of a single pen skyrockets, leaving the sick to compete with the vain for the same limited supply. Protests erupt, and the humanitarian focus of Novo Nordisk's founding is put to the ultimate test. The company is suddenly making more money than it knows how to spend, but it is also becoming the villain in a story it helped write. By 2023, the scale of this victory is so immense it begins to warp reality and the laws of economics. Novo Nordisk is no longer just a mid-sized Danish company operating from the fringes of Europe. It becomes the most valuable company in Europe, its market cap briefly surpassing the entire GDP of its home nation, Denmark. The Danish central bank is forced to keep interest rates lower than the rest of Europe because the influx of US dollars from Ozempic sales is making the Danish krone too strong. Their success is so massive, it begins to warp the global economy far beyond the pharmacy walls. In boardrooms across America, executives at snack food companies and fast food giants begin to panic in their quarterly meetings. Stocks for Pepsi, Nestle, and Hershey begin to wobble as investors fear a world where a significant portion of the population simply stops craving sugar and salt. Retailers like Walmart even report a noticeable dip in the food consumption of customers on these drugs, a ripple effect that threatens the very foundation of consumerism. But empires built on a single pillar are often fragile, susceptible to the winds of change. By 2025, the crown begins to shake as the reality of the market sets in.
Rival clans in the pharmaceutical world have been watching from the sidelines, and they are ready for war. The Danish king is no longer alone on the throne. American giant Eli Lilly has mobilized like an insurgent army, entering the arena with Zepbound and Mounjaro, drugs that target 2 hormones instead of 1, promising even faster, more dramatic results. This is the weight loss war, a brutal battle of clinical data, patent litigation, and marketing muscle. Eli Lilly is playing for total conquest, and the siege on Novo Nordisk's monopoly has begun. Meanwhile, the miracle drug begins to reveal its darker, more complicated side. Reports of severe stomach paralysis, intestinal blockages, and deep psychological changes start to flood the news cycle. The public's fever begins to cool as the reality of lifelong dependency sets in. This is not a one-time fix. If you stop the drug, the food noise returns with a vengeance, and the weight comes back almost overnight. Novo Nordisk, once motivated by a husband's love for his wife, now finds itself in a billion-dollar tug-of-war between public health and corporate survival. They are no longer the quiet guardians, they are the masters of a new energy landscape, one powered not by oil, but by the biology of desire. Whether Ozempic is the cure for a global obesity crisis or the ultimate vanity drug is still being debated in the halls of power. But one thing is certain, the world will never look at a dinner plate or a pharmaceutical company the same way again. The making of this financial empire has just begun, and the cost of entry is a transformation of the human experience itself. Behind the curtain of the Ozempic face and viral TikTok clips lies a geopolitical machine that most people never see.
To produce semaglutide at a scale capable of curing the West's obesity, Novo Nordisk had to build a manufacturing footprint that rivals the world's largest oil refineries. In 2024, they announced a staggering $41 billion investment in new facilities, a number so large it exceeds the entire annual research budget of most G7 nations. This isn't just about medicine, it's about industrial sovereignty and the ability to control human biology on a mass scale. The manufacturing of GLP-1 drugs requires a complex biological fermentation process that is notoriously difficult to master. It is the semiconductor of biology, a high-stakes, high-barrier-to-entry industry where the first to scale wins everything. While the public focuses on the scale, a deeper, more philosophical war is brewing in the heart of the medical establishment. For a century, obesity was framed as a moral failing, a lack of willpower, a failure of character that could only be fixed by the gym. Ozempic has shattered that narrative overnight, proving that hunger is not a choice, but a chemical signal that can be overridden by a weekly injection. This shift has sent shockwaves through the psychology and diet industries, rendering decades of willpower-based coaching obsolete. If willpower can be bought for $900 a month, what does that say about the human condition and our concepts of self-control? Critics argue that we are medicalizing a societal problem, treating the symptom of a broken food system rather than fixing the system itself. But for the millions of people who have spent their lives in the prison of food noise, these philosophical debates mean nothing compared to the silence of a quiet mind. The biology of desire is being rewritten one pen at a time. As we look toward 2026 and beyond, the financial empire of Novo Nordisk is entering its most dangerous phase, the era of the compounders. Because the demand for Ozempic so far outstrips the supply, a gray market of compounded semaglutide has exploded across the internet. These are unregulated, unverified versions of the drug being brewed in small pharmacies across the globe. Novo Nordisk has responded with a wave of lawsuits, a legal scorched earth policy designed to protect their intellectual property. They aren't just fighting for market share, they are fighting to maintain the aura and the safety profile of their brand. But the genie is out of the bottle, and the world is desperate for the cure. Governments, desperate to lower their own healthcare costs, are beginning to eye the drug as a public health utility rather than a corporate product. In the UK, the NHS is exploring ways to use the drug as an economic tool to get people back into the workforce by improving their metabolic health. This is the ultimate state-sponsored wellness, where a pharmaceutical company becomes an essential arm of the government's labor policy. Meanwhile, the insurance industry is in a state of civil war. The cost of providing Ozempic to every person who needs it would bankrupt almost any private insurance plan in existence today. But the cost of not providing it, in terms of future heart attacks, kidney failures, and strokes, might be even higher. It is a financial paradox that has no easy exit and no clear winner. Novo Nordisk, the quiet guardian born in a schoolhouse, is now the most powerful entity in global health. They hold the keys to the world's appetite, and in doing so, they have become the most significant economic force of the 21st century. The making of this financial empire isn't just a story about a drug, it's a story about how we value our health, our bodies, and our very future. Whether it leads to a healthier humanity or a world of medical dependency remains to be seen. But as the dust settles on the Ozempic gold rush, one thing is undeniably clear. The desert of desire has been irrigated, and the harvest is worth trillions. The making of a financial empire is never clean, never simple, and never truly finished. It is a testament to human ingenuity and a warning about the unintended consequences of our greatest successes. To truly grasp the future, we must look at the Aramco of biology through the lens of history. Just as the discovery of oil in the Saudi sands transformed a desert kingdom, the discovery of GLP-1 has transformed a quiet Danish firm into a global sovereign. They are now moving into the post-obesity phase of their strategy, seeking new territories to conquer. Clinical trials are already underway to see if semaglutide can treat everything from Alzheimer's to addiction. If Ozempic can stop a person from craving food, could it also stop them from craving alcohol, tobacco, gambling? We are on the precipice of the total wellness era, where human impulses are no longer seen as fixed traits, but chemical dials that can be tuned. This is the ultimate dream of the 21st century technocrat, a society where every inefficiency of the human animal can be optimized away. But at what cost to our humanity? As we medicalize the human experience, we risk losing the very things that make us human: the struggle, the desire, the very noise that tells us we are alive. Novo Nordisk's journey from a husband's love to a $600 billion empire is a mirror of our own evolution. We have moved from seeking survival to seeking perfection at any cost. And in that pursuit, we have created an empire that might just outlast us all. The story of Ozempic is the story of modern humanity caught between the miracle of science and the gravity of our own desires. As the final chapter of this empire is written, we will have to decide, are we the masters of the miracle, or have we simply found a new way to be ruled? The desert sands of the past have been replaced by the sterile labs of the future, but the game of power remains the same. If you found this deep dive valuable, hit the subscribe button and join us as we explore the stories behind the empires shaping our world. Thanks for watching.